Yo, 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 what's going on, people? Hope all of you are doing well. Obviously, from the thumbnail, we have a special guest, and that is Seth. So, welcome, Seth. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good today. Thank you for having me here.
No worries, brother. No worries. Good to see you. So yeah, we're just gonna go through a couple of different things today. So, first of all, let's just get straight in, man, and let's go straight to your journey, man. So, how did you start in crypto? Where are you now? Just tell us a bit more about yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, so I had the natural progression from stocks, ETFs, personal finance. As I am young, I'm looking for more exponential returns. I wasn't looking for my 7.4% APY on the S&P 500 every single year. I realized that people were making crazy money. And I thought, you know what, let me try and find out how I can. And I went down drop shipping, went down many other avenues, online
Mm,
avenues to make money. And I eventually found crypto. And this was back in 2017. And I wouldn't say I fell in love, but what I will say is I saw an opportunity to make a lot of money and I seized the opportunity. Started off investing into random coins, well known coins such as Polygon and Cardano. And I went around for the bull market and it was good. I made some great gains and I'm here to do it for a second time.
definitely, man. That's a really cool story, man. Yeah, mine was kind of quite similar actually. So I kind of was doing trading and just getting into like something called spread betting. It's like this is a long time ago. And then I thought I was a genius. I'm like, oh my god, I'm amazing. And then my best return was okay, but then I think I got into stocks as well. I was doing stock trading, and I got Facebook to like did a 50% return. I was like, oh my god, I'm a genius. Then I met my friend, and he's been in crypto since like 2011, I think. And then we were just chatting, and then he's told me like he had a 40x. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, oh my god, I need to just research this. Like, this is crazy. So then after that, I got the bug, man, and I never went back. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the journey is quite similar of most people.
Mm,
Stocks, ETFs, they're just not lucrative enough. Yeah, it's great to make your 7.4% APY a year, but
mm,
there's people out there who have businesses who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And it's not feasible for everyone to do that, to go down that avenue. And this is
yeah.
why crypto has blessed us with this opportunity. I say to people, look, yes, 100x is nice. Yes, 1000x is even nicer. But the fact that we can even make a 2x in such a short amount of time
Mm,
is absolutely ridiculous. Appreciate the little gains because
true.
if crypto didn't exist, you would be stuck with stocks. You would be stuck with your 7%, your
Yeah.
20% APY, not in
Yeah.
a couple of months, not in a day, not in a week, in a year. So let's appreciate this opportunity that crypto's granted us.
100%. And if you go back to like what you're talking about with stocks, right? Obviously, when the stock markets first started out, we probably had a lot of like increases and drops of price. And then when like for example the ETFs came out and big money came in, then it starts to stabilize, and that's why it's a lot harder to make those gains now. But with crypto, like we're still quite small. If you think about when you got into crypto, and then saving myself, obviously the market caps are still like, let's say you see something for 1 million, that's still low back then, but we're still seeing these opportunities now, right? So it just shows you the power of it, and people underestimate like, oh, how far something can go. They're like, oh, that was last time. It's like more, more money's coming, so get ready.
Yeah, it's due to the decentralized market. This is what
Mm,
people need to understand. Even if we don't have a cycle that can be followed, like the 4-year cycle, we will still be able to make exponential returns from crypto, just like how you have penny stocks. It's
yeah.
easier in this
Mhm.
decentralized, unregulated market for those kind of projects to exist. 100x's will still be made. It just won't be cyclical. So,
Yeah,
which is great to see, nevertheless.
definitely, man, definitely. So we've got some questions in the chat. We can obviously try and give you some from the people. And yeah, let's just see what people are saying. So we've got Shockwave AI is bursting, game out 15 December. So this is one of the ones I've done a review on a while ago. Yeah, it's going pretty crazy. I mean, the market cap is ridiculously tiny. So yeah, even if a little bit of money went in, it would go crazy. So I don't know if you heard of it, Seth?
Is it Neuros? I think it is.
Yeah,
Shockwave AI.
Neuros and then shockwaves. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
have
they're
heard of this one before. I have heard of this one before. The gaming
yeah.
narrative as a whole is popping off in general. So if
Really
you
is.
can find those early, smaller market cap gaming coins, you could make a decent buck. Considering what's happening right now, and it's kind of recycled money just flowing out through all gaming projects. So the ones that haven't pumped will eventually pump. Considering market conditions just stay the same.
Yeah, no, totally, totally. Well, that's the big question there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Considering it stays the same. As an yeah, so some other questions as well. So this is one. So ZK swap and B swap are, well, 100,000x potential gems. Okay, very bullish. Well,
Yeah,
you've heard
ZK
about these
swaps at
ones?
2 million in market cap. So I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say it's gonna 100,000x, but I won't put
yeah.
100x out of the question.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I've checked out ZK swap. It looks very, very interesting. It's a good project. Have you heard of B swap before?
I haven't heard of B swap, no.
No, I haven't ever. Oh my god, we've got a gem you haven't heard of. Usually, you know every gem.
I've been
Yeah,
very busy at the moment. So it's
yeah.
base swap apparently. Now,
Okay.
is this the main DEX on base? If so, I actually have reviewed this at
Okay.
one point.
Let me share.
Oh, it is the main
Yeah.
DEX on base. Yeah, look, you need to be very careful. What I do say is if you are going to invest into a new blockchain, it is somewhat wise to look for certain cryptos which unanimously perform well across all different types of blockchains, which is a DEX, because people need DEXs because people need to buy coins on that blockchain decentralized. However, I would say it's in its early days. There's many DEXs on base. It's hard to know which is the right one, which is one that's going to pop off and actually be utilized. So just be careful, especially on base chain, because there's many scams.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree with that. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? High risk, high reward. So, yeah, you definitely got to be thinking about that. So, another question has, okay, what about free you? What's how do you even say this? Free
Playable.
yeah, playable. Yeah, I've heard of it. What about you? You heard about it?
Yeah, so I am bullish on Playable. It's one that I was going to buy a few
Mm,
months ago. I was going to buy Dubs and Playable. This is like
yeah.
4 or 5 months ago.
Hmm.
I do like the project. They have a very unique point. It's more esports, and you can also operate nodes. It's built on Avalanche as well, which is
Okay.
a unique factor behind it as the main game built on Avalanche. If the Avalanche gaming sector wants to do well, then Playable is going to do very well as a result. We do have a few major influencers in the gaming crypto space, such as Alex Becker, saying that Avalanche is the blockchain you need to look out for, which is probably one of the main reasons we've seen the parabolic price action with Playable. Yeah, great project all around. It's pretty sound.
Nice, man. Yeah, so someone accused me the other day. They were like, "Oh, you just copied Alex Becker." I had to Google who he was, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't even know who he was. I was like, "Fair enough." But yeah, he's
Yeah,
got
Alex
quite good
Becker
content.
called a lot of gaming projects last cycle.
Oh,
But you got to
okay.
be careful of these
Mm,
influencers because you don't know whether or
mm,
not they called a gaming project or they are the reason the gaming
yeah,
project performed well. And with Alex
definitely.
Becker, it was more that he is the reason it performed well.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, 100%. Like, so what's going on here? Let's see another comment. We've got so thanks UX Crypto for your channel. I bought lit yesterday and made 3x just yesterday. And Crypto Seth, you've been putting in great work. You introduced you to Hello Labs. Wow, man. Yeah, Crypto Seth is a G. Like he knows his stuff. If you literally want to know like in-depth research about things, and I really pride myself on in-depth research inside of the space, like you should definitely check out his channel. On that note, let's just show your channel and you can plug it because yeah, you deserve to, man. So this is
Yeah,
his
so
channel. Go for it.
yeah, that's my channel, Crypto Set. Those of you guys who haven't subscribed to me, subscribe. And yeah, look, I live stream sometimes, I make videos sometimes. Just drop me a follow and turn on notifications to the rare time I do upload.
I'm gonna put it in the chat so everyone can see and subscribe to him. You should definitely do that. But yeah, let's get into some cool questions. All right, from me anyway. So let's get
No
the face
worries.
back up. Doing some madness with the screen right now. Cool. So obviously, I've asked you about the journey, but like, what are your top 3 narratives? And I'm going to quickly pull it up my little sheet quickly so we can write them down. 1 second. All right, here you go, man. Just fresh for you with your logo.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So what's my top 3 narratives? Great question, to be honest. It's a very hard one because there's many narratives in crypto, right?
Hmm.
And what people need to understand is sometimes a narrative is better than the projects within a narrative. Take AI, for example. I've comfortably and controversially said on my live streams the past few weeks that there isn't any good AI projects. The only good AI project is Bit and Sortao. Now, luckily, I was correct because Bit and Sortao absolutely went parabolic.
Nice.
And I came to that realization. Sometimes a narrative may sound good, but the projects in that narrative don't really live up to the
Yeah.
narrative.
Facts.
So, 3 narratives. Number 1 will be gaming.
Cool. Hmm.
I've been in gaming projects for a very long time. One of the main ones people know me for is Nakamoto Games. I called that one at the very bottom back in November 2022, right? Even earlier. And I'm up around 25x on my money.
Nice, man.
It's one of the main projects that I told people about, shared around, told Archie about it, told Millie about it, got people into that gaming sector initially with Nakamoto. I think due to the nature of gaming, it will always perform well. It has that capacity to generate hype, which is a very important factor in crypto. You need hype around your project. You need people getting excited, wanting to invest, because that's what causes retail to FOMO in. If retail don't believe your project is revolutionary, they don't believe it's exciting, they won't put their money in. And I
Yeah.
think gaming does that perfectly. And there is a utility to gaming, which is great. And the utility is the play to earn. And play to earn is something that will always do well in crypto. It did well previously last cycle, so it's not a matter of opinion. The data suggests this too. Axie Infinity went parabolic. Some people say it's the early movers advantage. Yes, it was partly the early movers advantage, but the main reason it did well is because people played it and people earned money from it. So the fact that gaming does that perfectly, the perfect balance of hype and utility, it's why it's always going to do well in crypto. And there's many good gaming projects, and the market has proven gaming will do well as gaming projects are pumping.
Definitely. I'm with you 100% on that. If I had to put this down, I'd be copying gaming as well. And I think you're right. It's all about utility, right? So, and another thing is retail, the hype. Obviously, with a project on gaming, you can see like, oh, okay, like this is a great game, or this is really good the way they've done it, or like utility behind the token. So in terms of retail coming in, it's very easy for them to identify like, oh, this has potential. But for example, if you've got a project which is like mostly back end technology, then it's like hard to sell that or hard for them to understand it, right? And that's the biggest reason why UX is important, right? Inside of crypto, I think, because you're going to attract retail. And then what you said as well about like people in the last run, like I heard people in like the Philippines and Asia were like basically full on playing games, and like that was where a lot of the games were being played. So it's like showing you that people do want this, right? It's just obviously this crypto cycles which kind of ruined it for everybody. But the cycle's coming back,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Well, there's many iterations of gaming projects. It's quite a broad term, but it does encompass a lot. You have launch pads such as GameFi.
Mm.
One of the top performing launch pads in the crypto space was around last cycle, did very well. Then you have layer twos like Immutable X
Mm.
built on Ethereum, where you can build your own Web3 games. Then you have games actually launching on those platforms, such as, what was it called? The main one, Illuvium,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And the main reason I'm using Illuvium as another iteration of gaming is because Illuvium is a project which people believe can compete with Web 2. That is why it did so well. People saw the game, which isn't released, but thought, you know what? The graphics of this game, the quality of this game looks so good. I'm going to invest. It wasn't even the play to earn because the game isn't even out. It was
Mm.
merely the desire that this game is going to be something better than anything in the crypto space. Then you have layer ones that came about, layer one gaming protocols, where it's its own blockchain built specifically for gaming, where people can come over and build different smart contract-based systems specifically for gaming. You have play-to-earn projects. The list goes on. You have metaverse projects. So even though gaming is a simple term, there's many different types of gaming projects, and they all have their benefits and downsides. But as a whole, as a narrative, I don't think you can really compare. So that's the first one.
Definitely. Yeah, and to add to that is also narratives based on different chains, right? So, for
Mm,
example, it was Alex Becker with Avalanche, is it? As in,
yeah.
so there you go, right? That's a narrative alone on that, and obviously, I don't know if you've seen that. Obviously, Solana chains, any game on Solana right now is popping off, right?
Yeah.
As in, and there's obviously Ethereum-based games, Binance-based games. There's lots of different ones. So you could also say that, you know, if some of these ones do really well and manage to capture that space of, oh, okay, we're the gaming chain, right? It's all going to pop off on that. So it's quite interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a point to consider because due to the nature of gaming, it can be built on basically any blockchain. All
Mm,
the blockchain needs to have is NFT integration. Then you can build a gaming project on it, which is every single blockchain that exists.
mm.
So even Bitcoin, as we're seeing of ordinals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, that's just another element. I'm looking at it at a slightly different angle, but with gaming, you can even say, well, look at gaming projects built on Avalanche, look at gaming projects built on Solana, and it's different narratives that could help it perform well. So gaming as a whole, it is amazing. It truly
Yeah,
is.
no, definitely, definitely. So number two, what are you thinking? No pressure.
Number two, it's very hard because I want to say something like AI, but I
Mm,
can't comfortably sit here and say AI. I want to say something like layer ones, but in my opinion, it's not even a narrative. It doesn't really mean much. So I'm going to say scaling solutions. That's going to
okay.
be my number two. Now, you could write layer two if you want, but again, technologically, that doesn't even make sense. So scaling solutions is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Now, I think scaling solutions are going to do very well this cycle. We saw Matic last cycle, which is something I invested into myself, gone absolutely parabolic. It did a 900x plus. Now, this isn't random. Matic did well because it solved a real issue. People need to understand Ethereum's dominance in the market. Many people don't. They always want to kill Ethereum. Ethereum is going absolutely nowhere, especially after it was deemed a commodity.
Mm,
Bitcoin and Ethereum are staying, they're not going anywhere. So we saw last run this idea of ETH killers killing Ethereum. I think this run is going to be more of a run of scaling solutions, improving the existing blockchains that we know are going nowhere to be better used for institutions, to be better used for many different industries and mechanisms. So that's what I believe is going to do well. Bitcoin scaling solutions as well, Ethereum scaling solutions. Now, this is my opinion, but the opinion is slowly being backed up over time. For example, of ordinals. Ordinals is built on Bitcoin. It's the gateway to build on Bitcoin, essentially. It's a scaling solution for Bitcoin. And ordinals has gone absolutely parabolic. It's up more than 10x from the lows. And I think this is just proof that scaling solutions, whether it's on Bitcoin or Ethereum, are going to do very well long term. I have many projects I'm bullish on.
mm.
Tectum is the main one, ordinals, track. The list really goes on for scaling solutions. But I think they're going to do well because the main blockchains aren't going anywhere. They're going to be regulated, especially after ETF approvals. Once Bitcoin is here to stay, to be institutionalized, to be adopted more than ever, these scaling solutions are going to be needed for Bitcoin. So that's kind of my take, scaling solutions in general.
Yeah, that's a really good one, actually. I don't know if I'll say number two for sure, but I'm in the middle, right? But one thing I can definitely say is a long time ago, you had a chat, right? It was about ordinals, and you asked my opinion. I was like, I'm not sure about that because obviously it blocks up the network. And then you were like, no, I'm really bullish on it. And you was right, man. As in, you definitely called that one early. And I changed like it was a couple months ago. I was like, he's right. As in, even before the price went up, because I was just thinking, yeah, like actually Bitcoin is going to be potentially the standard, right? It's going to be having ETFs on it. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's clunky. But then it's like, well, how can we scale it? So there you go, scaling solutions. And it's like, it's going to be quite exciting to see because at the moment, obviously, we've got some ordinals, right? Or layer 2 scaling solutions on it. But what happens when, for example, the Polygon of Bitcoin comes out, right? So that would be very, very interesting. That's what I mean. It's a whole industry right there waiting to be literally got.
Yeah,
So
at the moment, Audi is the Polygon of Bitcoin.
okay.
It's the top project built on Bitcoin. It is the top project at the moment. So if you're looking for that potential Polygon, it is Audi. It is Audi
Nice,
that.
nice. Oh, wicked, man. Yeah, I was speaking to someone the other day, and literally they were talking about there's a technology what's coming out because they went to like some Bitcoin conference, and there's no coin for it, but it's a scaling solution for Bitcoin, and it just sounded mad, and I was like, this is kind of crazy, like, but there's no coin. I'm like, oh man. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of development going to happen inside of Bitcoin. Like,
Well,
yeah.
absolutely. The thing is, there's many different scaling solutions. For example, you have a scaling solution for NFTs, for infrastructure, for payment. For example, for Bitcoin scaling solutions, you have ordinals, Audi to be specific. And Audi is for NFTs. And through Audi, you can actually build DeFi and DApps directly on Bitcoin through some of the other applications utilizing ordinals. We also have projects like Tectum, which is a payment solution that scales Bitcoin. So you can transact Bitcoin at record speeds anonymously, physically through the physical note. So they're not all the same. So they don't even have to compete with each other. Ordinals can do amazing. Tectum can do amazing. They're different versions of scaling of Bitcoin. So very bullish on scaling. Also for Ethereum, by the way. I think Neon is going to do very well. A scaling solution for Ethereum utilizing Solana tech, I think it's genius. And I think it's a door for other projects to do that. You'll probably start seeing soon scaling Ethereum with AVAX tech, scaling Ethereum with injective tech, scaling Ethereum with near protocol technology. It's such a great idea, and it also shows you Ethereum's dominance. So yeah, that's kind of my take.
Yeah, definitely. With Neon, right? I'm not that bullish on it, and all my patrons know I'm not that bullish on it, just because of Solana. As in, I'm not like a Solana fan at all, right? I can tell you many reasons why, but as in, this is where me and you can have some fun with this. So, yeah, obviously, one of the questions I've got for you later is going to be about decentralization and centralized. Do you care about it? So for me, I do. As in, but yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. You guys can wait for that one. But yeah, that's kind of the reason I'm not like really sold on that. But I do agree with what you're saying in terms of there's going to be other ones which are going to be using the coverage tech. You can already see, for example, Polkadot and Cardano have combined. I think it's they're using the coverage tech at the moment now. So it's like, okay, that's quite interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Their tech is outdated. Both of them are. Look, Polkadot and Cardano, I'm not a fan of both of them. I'm going to be honest. I'm more of a fan of Solana than Cardano.
Really?
And
Oh, wow.
to be honest. At the end of the day, what has Cardano done? Like, honestly, what have they even done? It's quite disappointing, to be honest, considering they've been around for a very long time. And Polkadot is just outdated technology. Why do I need Polkadot when I have Chainlink? And Chainlink's actually being utilized. And Chainlink will be utilized. So at the end of the day, we're not here to argue over the best chain. We're here to make money. And Cardano and Polkadot are probably the worst investments if you're looking for a safe investment to make money. So yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Well, on Cardano, I can agree with you with Polkadot, but on Cardano, I won't agree. So it's for me, it's like, okay, it's the most decentralized chain, right? So that mechanism right there is really, really good in terms of tech. Staking is really easy. There's no TVL, for example. Everyone based TVL on it being locked up, but then there's no lockup period for Cardano, so you can just come in and out. So the actual TVL, if you was to include it, would be the second biggest chain in the whole of crypto, but people don't know that. So it's like it's kind of slept on. Everyone's like, oh, they're not doing anything, but they are. And there's a lot of dApps built on it as well, which have a lot of potential. Like obviously, Singularity.net is on that.
Yeah, but Meld. I'm not fond of SingularityNet anymore. I know I made a 10x on SingularityNet, but I'm not very fond of it. SingularityNet is built on Ethereum and on Cardano.
Yeah,
they just have tokens on both the chains.
But they switched. So they were on ETH, and then they went to Cardano.
They're still on both, because at the end of the day, what is being built on a chain? What does that even mean? Just their token. So it's like, yeah, they're built on Cardano and Ethereum, but it's like, yeah, that doesn't really mean much. It just means they have a token on the chain. Like, they're not really using their infrastructure for anything, because all Singularity Net is a marketplace. So I'm not very fond in general. Look,
Yeah.
I get the argument for, do I get it though? Look, the thing is, at the end of the day, why would you invest into Solana and Cardano or even Polkadot? You're looking for a safe investment. You're looking for a safe investment that's going to outperform Bitcoin, is going to outperform Ethereum. That is the main reason you'd invest into those two. But the real question is, to what degree are they safer than projects like Near Protocol, than projects like Injective, than projects like Casper? That's the real question here, because if that difference is minimal to the point that it's negligible, then it's just simply not even worth investing into any of them. So that's the real question that people need to address. How safe really is Cardano? How safe really is Solana? Some people may say the institutional investment, the backing. Well, have you looked at the backing of most of the top 100? It's amazing. Even projects like Injective is backed by all the top financial institutions, even angel investors, huge names like Mark Cuban. And the same goes for projects like Near Protocol. They have the same backing as all these top projects. So, yeah, to me, it's a hard question to answer, and it's a long question to answer as well.
Yeah, it is, man. Like, I suppose the security side, the way I've interpreted that is different to you. As in, so for me, like, that's what I care about, right? Security. And obviously, if you don't have that much decentralization in crypto, it doesn't end well, right? So, and that would also be like, okay, so let's say Solana projects, people built on Solana, right? Solana goes down because it's not decentralized inside of crypto. We've seen this so many times with so many things in crypto. When it's not decentralized, you can hack it. It's easy to be able to hack it, right? So then Solana obviously shown it's not really that decentralized. It has a couple of negative things about it, right? So that being said, why would I invest and be like, okay, do you know what? I trust this project. Like, let's say a game built on Solana, and then, for example, my tokens are on there, then it all just go down. Like FTX is a great example of that. It was very centralized, and then obviously someone manipulated it, one person, right? It's not decentralized. So that's just one example. But that's kind of why I'm not bearish on all the projects, but like I will take it with a pinch of salt, and I wouldn't allocate as much to those projects because of that. Because I'm like, okay, it's a risky. It comes with risk because I could lose it all in Solana. But that's my outtake.
I think we should wait for the argument about decentralization, centralization.
Yeah,
for this
man.
one.
Yeah.
We'll finish with the last one.
Let's do
I've
it.
had to think. I've had to think. I'm gonna put. It's like two, but one in my eyes. Put GPU/AI.
Okay. Yeah.
GPU or computing/AI, whatever word you want to use. Now, I think this is a narrative that's going to do very well, and I think they kind of go hand in hand due to the computing mostly being utilized for AI, with a few projects specifically that I'm bullish on, such as Dynex. I think this is going to be a narrative that does very well for many reasons. With the computing side, mainly due to the proof of work aspect. Most of the computing platforms are proof of work. Some of them get more specific, being proof of useful work, as you mine and provide your computing power that can be bought for specific tasks. And I think this is going to be something that does very well, as it's done very well throughout crypto before. And also, we're talking about the utilization of the blockchain. I think it makes the most sense. If you want to get a collection of GPUs, the most you can, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Some may say you buy a warehouse for the GPUs. First of all, it's very, very, very costly. So expensive. A top-of-the-line GPU is thousands and thousands of pounds. Also, you have to get a factory. You have to have the proper cooling. You have to have the proper safety mechanisms in place, because a factory full of GPUs is not safe at all. The best way to get as many GPUs as possible is to utilize the GPUs of people around the world. Your GPU, my GPU, his GPU, their GPU. It's probably the aspect that makes the most sense to utilize blockchain technology to do so. Making it decentralized, making it so that anyone can provide computing power through their consensus mechanism that can then be utilized. And you can give them rewards in the form of the revenue that you make from the job that they use the computing power for, and you can distribute it evenly. Or you could use some people now use, you get rewards for mining in general, mining the coin, and then you can make money from that as an investment side too. So I think both of those aspects leaves the GPU narrative, computing narratives, as probably it makes the most sense to be in blockchain. And it's probably going to be one of the top performers this cycle because AI needs power.
Yeah.
It does. The power's going to come from somewhere. Tesla, even them, they have a supercomputer of around, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it's a couple thousand GPUs. It's needed. They need it. And the blockchain, through these projects, is the best way to get as much power as possible. So I think it's the narrative that makes the most sense. And there's many projects doing very well. Render, Dynex, Chlori, Akash, even projects like Flux. So I'm going to give that for number 3. That's what I
Nice,
put.
man. No, I think that's a really good one. Yeah. And I'm with you as well. I really see AI as one of the main user cases for blockchain technology. So many things, right? Like even IoT technology, right? So that, if you think about it, is you could use GPUs to be able to connect together, which is basically what Render is kind of doing, if you think about it, right? So being able to utilize that, and AI, right? If AI is going to exist and really have a lot of, power behind it and learn, it obviously, for it to get to its point, it would need to be able to be on a blockchain to really be able to learn that. So I think that it is a really good user case for it as well. Definitely
Yeah,
agree.
look, this is the thing. If you believe in AI, you have to believe in GPU computing platforms because what's going to power the AI? For example, smart cities. The advancement of smart cities keeps increasing. Well, you need something to power the smart cities.
Yeah.
Boom. Decentralized GPU platforms can power them. And that is why projects like Dynex and Render are going to do very well because they are perfect. It literally makes the most sense to exist. AI, I'm also very bullish on because at the end of the day, AI is ever advancing, AI is ever growing. I did myself call the AI trend with a few other people, made some great returns from AI, made a 55x on Viot, a 12x on Singularity Net, and a 30x on Demetra, just from the AI trend alone. And I believe it's going to do well, but I just believe the AI narrative does not have that many good projects. And I'm going to stand by what I said. The only great, not good and okay, there's a few good and okay ones, but the only great AI project out there is Bit and Sortao. And it makes sense because it's an AI layer 1. It's an infrastructure for AI. Most of the other AI projects aren't even infrastructure. They're just like, I call them fake AI projects because it's like having an AI chatbot doesn't make you AI. Utilizing ChatGPT to assist you developing smart contracts. Come on. That's a basic use case of AI. It's not an infrastructure. It's not building AI on chain. And that is what Bit and Sortao is, which makes it levels above all the other AI projects. So that's what I would say. If there was going to be a 4th and a 5th on this list to make it a top 5, I would say privacy and I would say block dag, but I don't want to call it a narrative. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Why privacy and why block dag?
Don't include them on the top 3 though. Don't include them on the top.
Okay.
Just leave the GPU AI. But why privacy? The privacy narrative got suppressed last cycle. SEC really came for privacy coins. And as blockchain technology gets adopted more and more and more, that is one of the main components. People like to go on about, decentralization, scalability, the trilemma, blah, blah, blah. One of the main reasons people love crypto is due to the privacy aspect and the anonymity aspect. And the more and more and more and more people use it, the more and more and more that's going to become a main aspect people look for. And there isn't that many new AI projects. Privacy projects. Think of it this way. Even if a narrative isn't bullish, if you have a new coin built within that narrative that is good, it will do well. ATOR is a prime example until the recent issue. I was up around 5 to 6x on ATOR, aiming to provide decentralization and anonymity to the Tor network. Right? Tor recently booted them off. Could be a good thing, though, because now they can try and become a truly decentralized Tor network because the Tor network is still controlled by the higher ups. But in general, this is why privacy will do well because it has the most fundamental utility in the crypto space, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I think the thing is with privacy, right? Like just from the last run, for example, I don't know if you've heard of a coin called Grin, and it was a Mimble Wimble protocol, right? It's like a while ago. I was quite bullish on that before. It didn't really take off, and it's all about privacy. The protocol is sound; it's a really good protocol, but yeah, people weren't really getting onto it. It was because basically exchanges, or where all the money was back then anyway, obviously dexes are kind of not recent but weren't used a lot, still not used that much. So for privacy coins to do really well, they need to be on a dex because of KYC and all that from centralized exchanges. So that's where I have a thing where it's like I don't know if I'm bullish on that, just because where's the money going to flow, right? And obviously the more and more we get into the cycle and obviously getting adoption, it's in like there's going to be more and more clampdown. I don't know about you, but if you've owned a privacy coin in the last run, these exchanges delisting all of them, right? And it's just like, wow, like what do you do with this then, right? If you don't have a
Yeah,
dex, what do you do with it?
it's very different this cycle, and also the regulation came from the US. So as long
Mm,
as you're a non-US exchange, you did amazing. And if you look at Casper's on no US based exchanges, and look how well it's done. Gone to billions and billions of dollars of market cap. This cycle is going to be very different. I
yeah,
don't really see an issue
mm,
with the exchange for the privacy coins. And also, something people need to understand is regulation comes top down. It comes top down. They're not coming
mm,
after micro cap privacy coins. They'll do
mm,
100x and 1000x before they even
true.
care about it. So that's just something to consider as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you, man. What was the other one you said? There was
A block dag.
block
Well,
dag.
block dag
Yeah,
is very simple. Casper's going to do very well.
yeah,
It conceptually solves the trilemma.
hmm,
And because it conceptually solves the trilemma, people think it's revolutionary. They're going to get hyped about it. They're going to invest into it. And then what happens is Casper will get too high in market cap, and then people look for alternatives to Casper, like Taraxa,
yeah,
which is why I'm up 6x on Taraxa, because the money just flows down from Casper to Taraxa. This is the thing I don't understand. People are so emotional in the crypto space. I'm bullish on Casper,
yeah,
but I'm here to make money. I'm not really here to argue and be tribal.
mm,
So Casper's a must-have in your portfolio, and Taraxa is a great equivalent to Casper if you're looking to make more X's. And if Casper
certainly.
does well, Taraxa will do well. Have them both. Don't have
Mm,
this tribalism. Oh, Taraxa isn't as good as Casper. I'm not going to hold. You're here to make money. Or are you here to be a Casper advocate? What are
yeah,
you
yeah,
here for? I see people on live streams like arguing over the technology. Like, what are you doing?
mm,
These aren't the elements that makes a project perform well in the crypto space. If it was a technology battle for the most X's, then we'd be talking about most of the top coins, but they're not going to do hundreds of X's. So stop your technology battles, stop your tribalism. If you're here to make money, put yourself in the best position to make money. And Taraxa was one of those projects I invested into because I saw exactly what would happen. And people need to understand this, because when you have a top project, it gets to a market cap too high to the point where people don't want to put money into it. They feel as if they've missed out on it.
mm.
And they start looking for equivalents. They start looking for smaller caps. And Taraxa is that main one, and it's why it's doing very well.
Definitely. Like I heard someone say that, oh, Casper is like the Bitcoin and Taraxa is like the Ethereum. So if you look at it in that way, it's like obviously there's that. And then think about it, right? There's Ethereum killers out there. So is that going to be another narrative?
So there's infinite narratives in the crypto space.
That's what I
It really
mean.
just depends what you mean by narrative. I consider a narrative a bullish category. You have categories of coins, but I think it's a bullish one.
Mm,
Meaning, even if they don't do that, even if your project isn't good, due to the narrative, it'll do well, which is why gaming is number one. Your gaming
yeah,
project can be terrible, but just because it's gaming, it'll do well.
totally, man. Totally. So I'm going to
Yeah.
try and answer some questions, as in, well, Seth can answer them as well. And yeah, someone has given me a lovely donation. Thanks so much from Win, and he said Lit Labs 100x. I know about Lit Labs. What about you? What's your thoughts on Lit Labs?
Yeah, the labs is okay. I have no issues with it. It's very
Mm,
similar to a project called Dubs, adding
yeah.
monetization to Web2
Mm,
games. So yeah, no issue with it. It's okay.
cool, man. Oh, that's very underwhelming. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, so what is everyone else saying? Let's have a look at some cool one. So okay, yeah, PZP mobile gaming number one. What's your thoughts on PZP? Plays that right?
Well, Nakamoto are creating an infrastructure to allow Web3 games to be directly built for mobile applications on the Play Store and App Store. Once that's released, it's taken over the mobile as well. It's very simple.
Nice,
Infrastructure for Web3 games to be perfectly built for mobile applications and to be added onto the Play Store and App Store will outperform just a single platform of random collection of Web3 games. So even Web3 technically. Depends what you mean by that.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. Like a lot of things, a lot of people are sleeping on mobile gaming, right? If you look at the market for gaming, it's the biggest. So it's like, there is really cool games out there which are on PC or desktop. That's cool. But then if you look at the real market, which has growth every single year, it's mobile. So, and you can literally do it in your hand. Everyone's doing things on phones now on apps, right? So literally if you want things to go viral and things to go crazy, then mobile is your answer. But if you want like core devs inside of crypto or people who are really like, don't want to say geeky, but people who are like, yeah, I'm on my desktop, I've got a supercomputer where I play my games on. Obviously, that's a bit more niche, although the games might be really, really good, but it's more niche. And then who spends money as well, right? So in mobile gaming, like you've got obviously younger generation who actually are used to spending money inside of mobile games. On desktop games, you buy it, right? And the same with PlayStation, you buy the game, then there's no in-app, there's no like purchase inside of the game. But with mobile gaming, like it's a known thing. Like everyone just upgrades.
You buy gems, you buy level ups, you buy all that stuff.
Exactly, man. So I could definitely see how crypto transactions in mobile could be like really, really bullish. So definitely, man. I'm not gonna. Someone's saying stuff about Cardano, but I'm not gonna read that one. If they're saying good stuff and they're like not happy about you saying stuff, but it's fine. I'll save you that one. And then
no, look. Is it the retro boombox studio?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
Why do I need to do a deep dive on Cardano though? I don't understand it. Like I'm not here to make a 4x this cycle. So, there's simply no need for me to do so. If you want to be here for the tech, if you're a computer scientist, a software developer, and you want to argue about tech all day, fine, you can do so. But I'm an investor. I'm here to make money. I'm not here to dick measure essentially about what technology is the best. It's pointless. I'll address the elements that make a project pump. And if I'm going to be honest, Solana probably has more of those elements than Cardano. But again, I'm not even a Solana advocate. I'm not even invested into Solana. But there's fundamentals for cryptos for investing. That's what I look for. Right? I'm not really here to look on a technological basis of what's better. It's pointless.
Fair enough, man. Got a big one here, man. I was reading some stuff earlier about this, so maybe the news has dropped. So yeah, breaking news: founder CZ agrees to plead guilty, and there's another comment saying that he's stepped down. So CZ resigns as CEO of Binance. What will be the impact on the market? What's your thoughts, man? This is breaking while we're live. So
really, is this true?
I don't know. Let's go check, man. Let's have a look and see, because this is worth looking at. Okay.
I don't think it's true. There's no way.
Okay, Binance. Let's just see, man, if it comes up. Binance news. Steps down. Forbes. Let's see. It might not be real, man, but we'll see. And then,
if this is real, I should be able to just search crypto and go on the news section on Google, and it'll be everywhere. Let's have a look. Steps down as part of $4 billion settlement with DOJ.
Yeah. So they're going to do a settlement, basically. Don't know. Interested. That's quite interesting.
So what's my thoughts on this? What's my thoughts? I think the main thing people are going to be asking is, does this mean projects on the Binance Smart Chain will be affected? And that's the main question people will be asking. And the answer is no, of course not. There'll be some FUD, meaning there could be some sell-off and of the BNB token. But apart from that, this isn't really the end of the world. This has no bearing on the technology at all. There's no effect on the technology. Therefore, there'll be no real major effect. So No need to worry if you're holding a project on the Binance Smart Chain. This is just sentiment. Sentiment changes all the time. And this isn't even necessarily bearish.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, man. It might not be, as in, and I suppose it depends how you look at it, right? Like having that happen, like, okay, is it going to be a thing where, oh, what's going to happen? Could it go more decentralized now? Obviously, I know you don't care too much about that, but I think that could be a good thing. Like, obviously, like Elon Musk, right? He says something like on Twitter, and then it like dumps the price of the stock, and then it goes up from the price. So it's like, is that a good thing, right? So even with CZ him stepping down, like it might be a good thing in a way. Like Litecoin has happened as well. Was it Charlie Lee? He stepped down from Litecoin and then obviously made it more decentralized. We don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. So it's like, maybe it's a good thing, a long term, but maybe in the short term, we see a dump from it. Like, but that's maybe potentially an opportunity for you, right? If you're looking for cheap things or prices, maybe this is it. If you believe in Binance is still going to be around, then this could be a good thing. So,
yeah, look, the main reason anyone would get any form of emotional about this is believing that this is going to have an effect on the market bearishly. That will be the main presumption of this news. And honestly, not really. It's not anything of significance. It's not the Binance operations coming to an end. It's not the Binance smart chains under threat. It's minimal. It's negligible. So nothing.
yeah.
And unless you're like a BNB whale, then you should have no issue.
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. So one person has given us a lovely donation, as in, so how many X's? This is definitely for you because you're a Tectum guy, right? I've got a video on Tectum, but I know you're very bullish on it. So, yeah, how many X's Tectum from here in the bull run? And then I'll look at this Lila. What is it? Lila? It's a Powell crypto.
Liquid,
If it work,
yeah.
we'll look at that after. What's your?
So thoughts on Tectum's performance? It's an interesting one. I think it's one that's very hard to predict. I'm going to be honest. When I make my predictions about how well a crypto can perform, it's mostly based on data. It's based on previous performance. It's based on money flow. It's based on the elements that made that crypto perform well. And if a project has similar elements of it that are similar to that one to make it perform well as well. For example, if Axie Infinity, well, what are the elements of Axie Infinity that made it perform well? Okay, this, that, and that. Well, does this gaming project have the similar elements? You have Gala. Okay, well, how did Gala perform well? Does this crypto have the similar elements? But because Tectum is solely and wholly unique, I don't have that crypto. I don't have that Tectum that I can use as a comparison for its performance.
Yeah,
Meaning I'm going to have to look at it a bit more from a outside perspective. Well, it may not have a comparison, but what does it have? And Tectum has the perfect balance of hype and utility, in my opinion. Perfectly. Because it has the clear utility as a scaling solution for any blockchain. Tectum scales any blockchain. It scales Bitcoin, it scales Ethereum, it scales Litecoin. It also scales Casper and allows for transactions at record speeds on a blockchain that boasts 1.3 million transactions per second anonymously. Now, that in itself is ridiculous utility. I don't think people understand. Being able to transact Bitcoin like this. I was transacting some Bitcoin yesterday, and I was annoyed because I never transact Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is, I never do it. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, why is this taking so long? Why am I waiting like 30 minutes for Bitcoin to be transacted? This is why Tectum exists. Some may see the Lightning Network. Okay, well, the Lightning Network has many issues. In fact, Tectum was created to improve all those issues of the Lightning Network. So, clear utility, anonymous transactions of all the major cryptocurrencies and any cryptocurrency because it scales any blockchain. Now, the hype aspect of the soft note, in my opinion, the fact that you have this crypto bill that you can print off and hold physically is something that I think will do very well. Reminds you of the crypto.com card. I think it's similar. People get excited about it, generate hype, revolutionary technology, transact crypto without the use of the internet, transact crypto through a crypto bill. These things can generate hype. So I think Tectum has all the elements of the making of a high quality project. So I may not have that comparison of a top project, but I know it'll do very well.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
Yeah.
I'd go as far as saying $5 billion in market cap it could do.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think
even
that's
more.
pretty fair.
Maybe even 10
Yeah.
billion. It's
It's
possible.
at the end of the day, it's linked to Bitcoin, right? So it could do more. As in Bitcoin's like, going to trillions, and if it's helping Bitcoin scale, definitely, right?
Yeah.
But I would say one thing when I first reviewed it, right? I was like, oh, this is a big idea. And I really like the idea with the soft note. And then I was like, okay, for them to do this, what's stopping someone like Apple just doing, taking it, right? But this is where it gets interesting because the patents, right? So that was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting because even if they did, Apple wanted to steal that and be like, okay, we're going to add this to all our wallets on our phone and we just create this whole thing, then yeah, either way, soft note and Tectum would have a case there because that's what Apple do, right?
Yeah.
They
That'd be
try
great
to take it.
exposure. If Apple steal
Mm.
it, they can sue them and you get a lot of exposure and good
Yeah,
marketing. There's
exactly.
such thing
So
as bad
they got
press.
70 patents, right? I think so. It's very, very good that they've done that because that was my biggest worry when I first was reading it, and then discovered it after. I was
The
like,
thing
yeah,
is,
mm,
even they wouldn't do it. Apple would
mm,
never do it anyways. And it's not an easily replicable project. It's very
mm,
complex. And this is why it's all private as well. It's not public.
mm.
No, it's not open source. So it's going to be very hard for someone to simply just copy the project. And that's going to be one of the main aspects to its performance because
Mm.
it's just not replicable.
Yeah,
Gaming
mhm.
projects are so replicable. You can have 1,000 gaming, you can't have 1,000 Texans.
Yeah, true.
You have hundreds of privacy coins. There's many copy and pasted versions, many layer ones of every single kind, many killers, but you can't have many Tectums. It's not something that you can just whip up like that. So it's probably going to do very well this cycle. And I'll gladly be that guy that was promoting Tectum when no one else was.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I think that's one thing of obviously being a crypto YouTuber, right? You have to stand by things when people don't believe in you, right? And that's just part of it. Because yeah, obviously we have experience in the space, so it's
Mm,
like if we was to agree with everyone, I think it's like this: if people talk about something, I will look at it, and obviously you will look at it, and it's like if it's good, cool, right? I can run with that. But if it's terrible, I'm not going to talk about it. So it's just, yeah, I think I like to see the positives out of things, but then you've got to be aware of the negatives and like what could happen, right? Because it's crypto. We're in the wild, wild west of investing. So that is
absolutely.
what it's about. But I'm going to quickly show this project. It's called Liquid Layer, right? Lila, if that's what it is.
Mhm.
So let's have a look quickly.
Yeah,
Um,
I've looked into this before. It's
mm.
an LSD proof of work coin. I think
Mine's
it's
a
a good
tenet.
it's
Yeah.
a good degen trade. That's my
Okay.
thoughts on it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to
I
trade
was reading it. It was like, oh, this is tenet. It's like a little bit similar. And
it?
yeah.
Yeah, proof of work, tenet.
Yeah. LSDs as well. So yeah.
I, I'm still I haven't looked into
Mm,
these projects in depth, but I still don't understand how it
mm.
makes any sense for an LSD backed blockchain.
Yeah. That's the risk, right?
And I
I
think it's
mean,
due to our lack of understanding because surely it's not as stupid as it sounds.
mm,
Because, for example, if I don't know what aspect is LSD. Is it the liquidity providing? Can I just pull my liquidity whenever I want? That's a rug pull. Like
mm,
what aspect is the LSD? Is it just the staking? Is that really it? Is it just a proof of work blockchain, but the staking is liquid? Like it really could just
mm,
be the staking is liquid for the validation. And if that is the case, but it's proof of work, meaning you mine. So
mm,
it doesn't make sense to
yeah.
stake. So what aspect is liquid staking?
Yeah, I think the thing is with the whole LSD thing as well, it's like the whole Luna thing comes to mind a bit, and it's like, oh, okay, you're backing a crypto with other cryptos, with like a collection of them, but then obviously in the run, we're going maybe potentially up for the next 2 years, and that's cool. But
Mhm.
what happens after, right? That's not sustainable. So, because we're gonna have a drop, it's just a cycle, like, and then that means that that could be potentially a massive rug pull again, which is a problem. So yeah, obviously, but if you're looking to trade it and not stay in it and you don't care about it, maybe this is a something for you, but just comes with risks. So that's what I would say.
Oh, 100%. You have to be very
Mm,
careful, especially when it's a DGen project
mm,
like Lila, very low market cap. When you're dealing with liquid staking, trust is so important.
mm,
Trust is very important. But yeah, I would say it's a good degen trade. Short term, similar to on-chain AI, you can trade it.
Yeah, definitely. And so got another comment. Yeah, so this is one of my Patreons. Thank you guys for high quality discussion. Thank you, brother. Thanks so much for that. Appreciate that. And we've got to mention somebody here, right? Because it could be the real G file. All right. So person's name it's like person's called G file and he's put G file. So and people were commenting about this. So if you're the real G file founders, like definitely come on the show.
Yeah, if you're the real G file, stop all the paid promotion.
Yeah. But GFile's a great project.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very bullish on GFile. What do you think about GFile actually while we're on discussion?
Great, no issues with GFile. Should do very well this cycle, 100%. Yeah, I'm very bullish on GFile. It's one of the best gaming projects in the crypto space. I think Nakamoto and GFile and Miria are levels above most gaming projects in the crypto space. There's a few exceptions. I think Dubs technically is number one, but as an investment, it's not number one. But I think those are the best gaming projects in the crypto space.
Cool. I'm going to get on to coins, right? Because obviously we are talking about coins, so I may as well actually do that. So let's see what your top 3 coins are. Let me quickly get this up. So you've said your narratives. Now we're going to the top 3 coins, man. So what are you thinking? You might have said some already, but
it's hard. It's hard to pick. I know one for sure. I know 2 for sure, but I'm trying to think of the third one because it's kind of annoying. Are these low caps?
I would sway you more to there, right? Just because it'll be more fun. If you say like Bitcoin,
I could give three. No, I'd never say Bitcoin. I could give like 3, like mid and high caps, and then 3 low caps. We could do that.
All right, go for it. Yeah, you're giving me way more value there. That's good.
I'll give you 6. I'll give you 6.
Cool.
So, number 1 is Tectum.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
I'm not going to give a long-winded explanation because everyone knows. If you don't, go watch my video on it. Go watch UX Crypto's video on it. You'll know why we're bullish on Tectum. It's without a doubt the best low cap layer 1 in the crypto space, in my opinion. Now, number 2, Nakamoto Games.
Okay.
It's proven itself as the best gaming project. It has so many elements to why it's going to perform well for gaming. Has many different play to earn aspects, from the gaming side that's play to earn to the operating an arcade that's play to earn, through the Nakapunks of revenue sharing. There's so many. The metaverse that's play to earn. So many different ways to earn money. Naka, top gaming project, and it's an infrastructure for developers. So Naka.
Nice.
Now the last one for low caps. Okay.
Oh, so this was second, yeah? Naka
was second.
Sorry. Okay, cool. Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go with Hello. I'm going to go with Hello.
Nice.
Hello is also a top project in crypto at the moment. It's speculative. It's very speculative. And due to that nature, it's worth taking a gamble, in my opinion. It's one of those projects which could do more than 100x or could only do a 50x. It really just depends on the success of the show. I think Paul Caston is a genius. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's an expert in his field. I have full confidence that's going to do well. So, Hello's number 3.
Definitely. I really like your picks, man. Yeah.
Number 4 was going to be Dynex. It was going to be Dynex.
Okay.
Or it's going to be number 3. I wasn't sure, but that was the other one on the list.
We'll split it. Yeah, Dynex is interesting as well, actually. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was going to say something about Hello. So, for example, I think you're probably aware, but Snoop Dogg's son is part of the team as well. And he's got a really good background in crypto, actually, like with Bored Ape Yacht Club and Sandbox. So, yeah, I think that's, for me, very bullish, as well as, obviously, Paul Caston, which, I really liked your interview as well. I know you've done one on your channel, so you should check that out. Seth has done a lot of obviously interrogation on him or whatever to see if he's legit, and he definitely seems like a really interesting guy. So
my AMA Paul Castlin is definitely the best Hello AMA in the crypto space. So much knowledge in that interview. definitely worthwhile checking out.
Definitely, guys. So let me be selfish and ask some of my own questions as well on you.
No worries.
So yeah, what's your biggest lesson you have learned since you've been in crypto?
Biggest lesson I've learned since being in crypto. Number one, stop market cap hunting. You're all too obsessed with market cap. I'm going to use two projects as an example, Injective and Nakamoto Games. Because when I was covering both of these projects, November, December, January, everyone told me, Seth, why are you investing into Nakamoto Games? Why are you investing into Injective? They're too high in market cap. They're too high. Go and look for low caps. I need under $1 million market cap coins. People told me to invest into, projects like Cryptopolis instead,
Oh yeah.
projects like Realm instead. And since that point, I'm up 17x of Injective and 24x of Nakamoto. You need to understand this. Stop market cap hunting. Look, anything under 100 million can 100x a cycle. It really can. So that's one of my biggest rules, I would say.
Yeah, man, I'm 100% with you on that. So my channel is all about fundamentals, right? Like researching the fundamentals, going into deep dives into like, the team, the partners, all these different things. And those are all elements that make up a great project, because you need to know if they're actually going to pull it off, right? And I totally agree. Like, I don't look at, obviously it's nicer to be in like cheaper prices, right? But that's not the be or end all, because 100% of nothing is still nothing. So a lot of people don't understand that, like, oh, this one's really cheap, but it's crap. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, and then who's going to build it? Like, it's lots of people can just reskin a website and be like, okay, this one, look at this, great.
Yeah, think
Right?
of it this way. It's at $1 million in market cap for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. It
exactly
could be
that,
at
man.
100 million, but it's not. There's a reason why.
It's true. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a second lesson learned that I'd say.
Hmm.
Well, these aren't even lessons I learned, but these are lessons I preach because I didn't like learn them by fault. I haven't made any mistakes, but the second one is if you are going to buy a project and you're bullish on it and you've done your research, gain exposure. Gain
Hmm.
exposure. Don't listen to those technical analysis saying, well, it could dump this percent. It could gain exposure. You can accumulate utilizing technical analysis on retracements, but gain exposure. If
Hmm.
the project is good, gain exposure. Don't sit around waiting, for certain levels because it could just never come. And
Definitely.
it's what happened to Casper. You may have been bullish on Casper, but you were sat there waiting. Oh, I'm going to wait. It's going to come down, another this, and that. It's pumped 3x on that point.
Yeah.
5x on that point. So if there's nothing wrong with the project and you want to buy it, gain exposure. Don't wait around. You can
Definitely.
accumulate and wait. Maybe only buy 10%. But you can accumulate and wait for levels, but do not have no exposure. You will regret it. You will really regret it.
Definitely. I felt the passion on that one for sure. Yeah. No, but I agree. Like, so for example, like something's pumped and like let's say it did a 1x already, and then people will be like, why are you buying that? Right. And I'm like, because look at the potential, right? And also like the fundamentals, we go back to them, right? If you look at the fundamentals of a project and what it could do, like who cares if it went up by 1x? I don't care about that. Like, my strategy is very much like, okay, I'm buying from the bull market. I'm not, and it's like we've got to be in these coins for 2 years. We're not going to be in it for like a month or 2 months. Like, that's not really my plan, right? I'm here to hold it and obviously keep doing that. This is why the fundamentals are so important and to look into them, because you are gonna sell as soon as like the price drops. You're not really gonna know much about that project and to why you're staying in it, because obviously we're in crypto, man. There's crazy highs and also crazy lows. So it's the way the game is. So you need to be like very confident that you're gonna stay with these bags. And obviously, if you are not, then that's how you lose. Like you might have had a 10x and it goes to zero. It happens. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I
Very,
totally
very
agree.
true. You'll regret not gaining exposure as well as you watch their crying as the bag goes up.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. For
But yeah,
sure.
100%. I could share the three mid cap, high cap projects as well.
Oh yeah, let's do it, man. I'll go back to the question again. 1 second.
Yeah, because there is three clear, in my opinion,
Mm.
of the best high caps, without a doubt, mid caps.
Mm.
Number one is Injective. It's obvious.
Do you know the ticker?
INJ.
NJ. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Injective is phenomenal. They have the largest social engagement on Twitter.
Oh wow.
Twitter is the main hub for crypto. Casper is a very loud community, but in terms of actual social engagement, Injective is number one. Also, real utility, strong backing, institutional, financial. Also, half of Injective is state,
Oh wow.
which is ridiculous. Half of the market cap
That's
of
right.
Injective is state. It's crazy.
That's
So that's
good.
number one, Injective. And just to throw it in there, I'm up 17x, so I am biased a bit. Number two is going to be Casper.
Okay.
Casper is a no-brainer. Block DAG conceptually solves the trilemma, and people are always looking for the next revolutionary technology, and they will ape into it. And Casper has clearly proven that. So number two is definitely Casper, without a doubt. Number three is Bitins or Tau, T-A-O. Tau is, honestly, like I said before, the greatest AI project. None of them come close. Infrastructure for AI will do so well. Tau's number three.
Nice one, man. Yeah, that was good. No, definitely. I really like your picks as well there, man. Like with Tau, I need to do a deep dive on it. Like I've heard about it for so long and I've just never looked into it. So I missed that
It's
one
a
for
hard
sure.
project to look into. It's quite complex and there's not a lot of information, but once you get
Right.
into it, it's good.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to do a deep dive on that for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Nice
Without a
one,
doubt.
man. Have you got any other gems you want to just dish out for the people before we move?
I saw someone in the chat mentioning Mint Layer. What I'll say is it's pretty good. Fits into my narrative, scaling solution for Bitcoin. I'll give it an honorable mention. It's pretty decent. I believe it's pumping today as well.
Okay. Where are you putting that? 1, 2, 3.
Don't put it on there. Just
Okay.
one in general, I'm saying.
Honorable mention. All right, cool. All right, I didn't see that comment, so yeah, thanks for pointing that out. So let me get into how long you got? You got or can stay with us for a while, or you?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into some juicy stuff, right? Okay, so the question is to you is this is the one we was gonna have a debate about. So decentralized versus centralized, or I just want the money. So where do you lie in this whole dilemma?
Great question. Decentralized versus centralized versus I just want the money. To be honest, I'll start this off by saying when people say they want decentralized, what do they mean? Because I think what they really mean is not corrupt. And the goal for the lack of corruption is this idea of decentralization. For example, take all the people in third world countries, crazy hyperinflation. They don't want decentralization. They just want to be able to hold a currency of value. They just want no corruption. In Africa, there's so much corruption. If you send these people to the UK and America, they're happy. There's no issues. In their country, there is issues. So it really just depends. Decentralized versus centralized. Is there benefits to decentralization? Of course, there's benefits to decentralization. There's a lower inclination to corruption of decentralization. It's harder to corrupt when things are decentralized. Now, centralized, it's a bit different because there's benefit to centralization. There really is benefit to centralization. Regulation, institutional investment, large money flow, smart money. There's many benefits of so-called centralized projects. I find it hard to answer this question because I don't really know what it means. Could you rephrase it?
Oh, good. Okay. So I can take a stab, all right, and then you can bounce off of it, right? Because it's hard, yeah, right? So like in terms of centralized, right? So you're right, there is pros and obviously speed and all this other stuff. I'd say speed is the main, right? Because within crypto, that's the one flaw of decentralization, especially with building stuff on top of it. Like Seth just said about trying to do a transaction with Bitcoin and it's taking 30 minutes. That's the downside of it, right? But security wise, you've got loads of pros. So yeah, centralized, obviously that will be the way. But then you have to ask yourself a question, in my opinion, right? Is okay, if we're going centralized, for example, crypto gaming, let's use Solana as an example. I know because it fits the bill, right? So, okay, why even be on a blockchain? Like, for example, there is already Web2 stuff which you could build on. If you're a developer and you were like, other than trying to get into crypto and get the hype of the money of that, right? What is the purpose and the benefit of being in a centralized crypto or blockchain, right? There's not really much incentive because you've got Unity, for example, you can build games on. You've got like obviously Apple, you could build directly on there. You don't need to do it for another third party, right? So it's kind of like, what is the purpose, in my opinion, of centralized cryptos, other than maybe getting hacked one day? As in, but yeah, what do you think of that?
I think that's flawed because I think that somewhat suggests that the only utilization of blockchain technology can only be for decentralization. And I think that's inherently
Mm,
flawed. For example, let's take
mm,
my GPU crypto example. It makes
mm,
sense for GPUs to utilize blockchain technology for people around the world to provide the computing power. It's just simpler doing it through blockchain technology. It works
mm.
perfectly. It'll be centralized. They have full control of every single decision that will ever be made with the power of the GPU. But it works, and it works efficiently, and it
But
works
wouldn't you
effectively.
say it would be better being decentralized? Because, for example, if you had all this GPU power in one place, right? You've got a
Mhm.
couple of issues there. You've got heat, for example, and then like obviously actually getting hotter. Also, one thing goes down with a power supply around that area,
No,
the
no,
issue.
no. I'm saying
Yeah.
you can use blockchain technology.
Mm.
Blockchain isn't decentralized. Blockchain's blockchain. You know, you can
Yeah.
have a centralized blockchain. And what I'm trying to say is you have people around the world all providing their computing power for a
Mm.
centralized
A
institution.
purpose, right? A centralized
And the
purpose.
reason they're providing it
Mm.
is because they're earning rewards and the revenue from it. For
Mm.
example, it's like imagine you can invest into Nvidia stock and you
Mm.
provided your computing power, and that's the way you invest into Nvidia stock. And then Nvidia provided you with the Nvidia revenue.
Mm.
It's that same concept. It's like it makes sense for it to be on the blockchain because there's a simple way to access people's GPUs around the world to provide computing power for specific tasks. And they pay you out the revenue through the token or through the blockchain in general. It just makes sense to exist. Now, do I care if it's decentralized or centralized? No. Because at the
Mm.
end of the day, who do I want making the decisions? The people that know what they're doing, the experts. I don't need
Mm.
some governance system where clowns around the world providing their GPUs make decisions for the business. What do they know? So it just
Yeah.
wouldn't really make sense for it to be decentralized. It'd be better being centralized.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, there's pros and cons to it, but like with the con, for example, with decentralization, right, is I met a company a while ago, like, and then they made everything decentralized in their company. So this was down to like salaries and all these different things. So it meant that basically everyone could vote on whose salary and what they would get, right? So for example, loads of people could say, "Oh, the CEO earns too much," right? So then we all agree as a consensus that no, we're all going to earn level. So this is where it was a bit like, well, he's the guy who took all the risk on, and then now he's getting paid less. So yeah, there's pros and cons,
It sounds like some communistic bullshit.
Yeah,
but
but apparently they were really happy, and no one ever left the company. So that was quite interesting. And then he was happier to take a lower salary, as long as he was cool, right? So, and remember, he's still a shareholder, so he could still take loads of money out. So that's when it floors down.
yeah, look,
But yeah.
the thing with all this with this main argument is why do you want it to be decentralized and what needs to be decentralized and what is the purpose for it to be decentralized? That's the main question here.
Hmm.
Most people are talking about payments. Well, they're talking about currencies in general. That's what they're talking about. What's the issue? The issue is inflation. The issue is the control over
Yeah, the
a
control.
currency that essentially governs our lives. So we want a decentralized alternative. Why? Because it can't be manipulated. That's the assumption. But is
Hmm.
that true?
Yeah.
Like,
I know
imagine
what
you
you
were
mean.
holding Bitcoin. The volatility of Bitcoin so
Mm,
easily controlled. It would take everyone like unanimously all understanding that Bitcoin is the future, and we all invest into it to the point where it's so high that it's stable. It's just
mm,
not feasible. Then it'll still be controlled and manipulated. I guess it'll be manipulated less
mm,
than fiat, obviously, and
mm.
somewhat controlled by the people. But Bitcoin is still manipulated by the higher ups. So it really just depends. It's a nuance.
Yeah,
I could,
it's a
I
hard
could,
one. It's a hard one for sure. I mean,
But in
my
terms,
biggest argument is security, like literally, because like the example you gave with GPUs and stuff, right? It's like, and let's say AI, we throw in AI into this equation. Like, so if AI was to learn on a decentralized chain and it could learn from each computer it was on, right? Then surely it would make more sense to have more decentralization on computers rather than if you was like, oh, we've got 3 computers with a whole bunch of stuff. What's it going to learn there, right? It's just going to learn just that, and then the information you get out of it was going to be crap. So, but if you had all of the network, then you learn everything. So it's kind of like that's one way of, I suppose, looking at it. But then in terms of like, if things were to drop, something that happens with a node or something, right? And then there's only 3 nodes, then it's like, okay, you lose 30% of the power if it was like 3 nodes, right? Just from one going down. So then there's problems with the network then. But if it was decentralized, then, highly likely that, okay, maybe 0.5 of a percent of a network goes down. And then it's like, okay, cool, we're safe here. All good. Like, what do you think?
the thing is, we have to understand it's like it's the terms and the complexity of this, because that would be for node operators. Why should I run a node? That's the question here. Because the
Incentive.
decentralization, this is only effective if you have people operating nodes. And I don't think we have thousands of altruistic people out there who want to run nodes and use energy and pay for energy bills just for the altruistic nature of wanting to help everyone and keep systems decentralized. No, of course not. They need incentive, and the incentive is money.
Yeah, you're
Now,
right.
can you mine effectively with most of these cryptos and earn some form of income that's substantial for you, providing all this energy or using all this energy? Can the average person really do this? No. It's going to be people, factories of GPUs
True.
that are going to be doing this, mining Bitcoin, meaning it's mining institutions, meaning it's just companies. So it's just companies powering this. And it basically comes back to the system we have now outside of this, companies powering everything. They may say, well, if they weren't doing it, people would do it. Yeah, I suppose, but give me an example of that happening. There isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really hard one, man. Like, because I'm in the 2 minds as well. It's, for example, everyone's like, oh yeah, the Bitcoin ETF, and this is the whole debate right here, because it's like, okay, that happens, then BlackRock owns basically majority of Bitcoin at that point. Then it's become centralized. So in terms of this debate, like, centralization will win, as in and decentralized will kind of be a thing of the past, even with Bitcoin. So, and then maybe there'll be some other Bitcoin killer which won't be decentralized. It's the idea of decentralization, which I think everyone buys into, even including myself, right? As in, and that's what I feel like, the whole thing of crypto originally was power to the people. Like, we don't want to be controlled and all this. And as we go more and more into like a world where everything is controlled, especially in the UK, like, it's there'll be that narrative, but whether it's a reality is a whole nother story, right?
Yeah, think of it this way. Everyone knows we're controlled. Everyone knows that everyone's been whining about it for years in the UK.
Yeah.
Government this needs to change this, inflation this, blah, blah, blah. You don't see them investing into Bitcoin because it's just
Yeah.
the government will just stop the utilization of it. You just won't be able to use Bitcoin for anything. Gladly go buy Bitcoin, but what are you going to use it for?
Yeah.
No shop's going to accept it. No store's going to accept it. Your work aren't going to pay you in it. Then what? So the government really want to block it. It's very, very simple to do. You have to understand that crypto is literally just a means of investment. Yes, blockchain technology has benefits in different industries, but mostly it's just a bubble of investment. But I think that the way to move forward in this kind of discussion is to define the terms. I think that's the best thing to do. Because I can think of many different ways to perceive decentralization. I think the best thing to do would be to define what you specifically mean by decentralization. Like, what do you mean by decentralization?
I suppose, I mean, in the user case of, you could say cryptocurrency in terms of coins and stuff like that, and safety, I'd say let's say blockchain trilemma. Okay, so if we're going to look at it just from that aspect in terms of having a currency like that, because obviously there's so many user cases, like you said. So
okay, you look at it on like a blockchain trilemma kind of perspective. Okay,
yeah,
not like a crypto versus government kind of perspective, like a trilemma perspective.
you know what? Let's open to interpretation, right? I mean, you could go down that road if you want. There's
just too many roads I can go down. If it's like a trilemma perspective, I think it's irrelevant. I don't really care whether or not it's centralized or not. Because at the end of the day, there's elements that make cryptos pump. That's the most important aspect. If it's centralized, okay, it's centralized. Makes a difference. At the end of the day, realistically, every crypto is centralized. It's controlled by those who run the cryptocurrency. Most of the nodes aren't operated by you and me.
Yeah.
It's operated by institutions, companies who can pull the plug like this. Then what? So nothing is centralized. It's like a false sense of security that it's not decentralized. It's a false sense of security that's decentralized. It's not important. I wouldn't not invest in cryptocurrency if it was centralized. I think it's a buzzword. I don't think it really means much. That's my take on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Yeah, on that side of things, like, yeah, I've broken my own rules on many a time. So, for example, gaming coins is a great example because a lot of them are quite centralized. But this is the thing: it's like, okay, there is, like you say, pros as well of being centralized. So, yeah, with gaming, like, obviously, you need to have a piece of the pie. They're not going to develop something and then, all companies are going to need a piece of the pie. So, if someone's like, oh, it needs to be 100%, right? Depends on the user case, right? So, for me personally, like something like Bitcoin, and then like if it became centralized, it would put me off because it's like the whole user case behind this is that, right? But then when it comes to gaming and all that, it's totally different. Like,
what would you say the main con of centralization is? Like, what even are the cons of centralization? Like, is there even any cons?
I think, yeah, is security.
In this blockchains, like in what aspect though?
Okay, so let's say, for example, we have something which is centralized, right? And it's kept on a server somewhere, right? On one computer. And then it's 100% centralized, right? That gets hacked. See you later, right? It's all
Yeah,
gone.
but I mean, in crypto terms, like in like the aspect of a crypto project being centralized, like what would even be the negative aspect of that?
Well, it's just security, like kind of what I was saying there. Like, and also someone holding it. Let's say as well, another thing about all the tokens held by one wallet, for example, right? Then, or not all of them, but a lot of them. As in 10% is held by us lot, 90% by them. Then it's like, well, it's going to get dumped on, and everyone thinking, oh, it's going to be great. You're going to get dumped on, right? So there's that as well.
So you mean like the token distribution?
Yeah.
Like the allocation. So would you say, okay, well then what allocation will make a crypto centralized? When 50%
that is the question. That is the question.
60% of tokens, 20% of tokens, because 99% of cryptos are heavily towards early investors, and public sale round or the public sale allocation is minute. The public sale allocation is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. Maximum in some projects, like 30%, but that's about it. The rest is technically controlled by the project. Therefore, basically every single crypto is centralized.
Yeah, but this is what gets interesting, right? So, for example, if you build like your let's give an example. Let's think. So GFAL, right? So GFAL is based on Binance, right? So obviously the tokenomics of Binance and the security of Binance, you're kind of risking that whole project based on Binance, right? It's actually quite a good one to talk about because of what's happened just now, as in and you can see how that might affect the price and also like the trust inside of that project. So it kind of comes down as well with something which is say FTX. Let's go to there. Maybe we'll not get demonetized for talking about this, but who cares? All right. So with that, everything that was linked to FTX went to crap, right? So it's kind of like this is where centralization and decentralization comes in a little bit, right? Because if you're using FTX and you built on top of FTX, then it's kind of like hindered. The same with like Solana, right? I think it's like 20% or something like that of the supply still held by Alameda Research till 2027, right? So at some point, there's going to be things where they're going to need to make money back, right? And then they're going to have to dump. So it's this whole centralization side of things where it comes in, and obviously VCs and all that stuff. So it would affect the price eventually of Solana, right? And the same as like on Solana, they have something called smart NFTs, and it's basically like stored off chain. So the NFTs are stored off chain, and it's like, well, so that means it's centralized, right? So, and then what happens if somebody decides to hack where that is, which is centralized? You've lost everything, right? So for me, it's like that's an issue. Like I wouldn't want that.
With the allocation side of that, it's not even an FTX thing, to be honest. It's people always go on about FTX and about Alameda, and they go on about all these issues of Solana and the affiliation. It's not even an argument if you really think about it. That's just because they had allocation. How many of these top VCs, how many of these top exchange institutions have high allocation in many of projects? if they decide to sell, which they can at any point, it'd have the same effects. It's
Yeah,
just the
that's true.
issues. It's just the issues behind what happened with FTX that's making this news. It's like if
Mm,
anyone sold any of this, it would cause the same, decrease in price based on the allocation they hold. So it's been
mm,
exacerbated into a bigger issue than it really is due to the FTX situation. But I see
mm,
someone in the chat saying the
mm,
cons are CZ happening, FTX Luna. But FTX it's an exchange. It's obvious. The point of using an exchange is because it's centralized and you adopt the risks of so. But the crypto is different. The only reason the crypto got affected is sentiment. The crypto got affected to sentiment again, allocation, token allocation, the selling of tokens. So it's
yeah.
like the same principles can be applied to FTX that can be applied to absolutely every single crypto. So unless the argument is a certain percent of tokens allocated towards non-public, make it centralized, then every single crypto is centralized other than Bitcoin and maybe
Mm,
Litecoin. That's centralized too. So basically every single crypto is centralized. And then if that is the point, then is this centralization, decentralization argument even an argument anymore? It's like
mm,
if the only effects really is the selling of token from centralization, if the only effect that a so-called centralized protocol can have is selling of tokens, then that's basically every single crypto. That's my point. Unless there's another
mm.
thing you can think of. I know you mentioned the NFT
Security.
storing off chain, but again, I'm
Mm.
not too sure what that specifically even means in itself because you can't have an NFT off chain. You can have
Well,
an image off
exactly.
chain.
Yeah. I'll
Will
show
be
you
able to
actually
see that.
really quick. I can show you where I got this from. If I can quickly show you. So this thing here is in a, so it's a basically non-fungible tokens on Solana. Why can't I zoom? What's going on? It's stopped. Anyway, you can read it from here. So yeah, Solana released compressed NFTs, which reduce the cost of minting and managing NFTs by storing the data off chain to minimize storage costs. So obviously they're trying to, minimize costs to themselves, but then that is an effect of crypto, right? So, and obviously
Sounds
security.
centralized. Sounds I don't know what it means by off chain, but it sounds like it's doing something.
Mm. But that's the thing, like that's the what is the idea of crypto? That what it comes down to, right? Is in like obviously we've been sold a dream where it's like, oh, we want to own our own things, and security comes from
The
decentralization.
idea of crypto is to make money. That's the only reason to be in crypto.
So you're on the question I asked. It's the last one.
That's the only reason anyone's in crypto. I don't want to hear this
Yeah.
argument that people in crypto for other reasons. You're in
Yeah.
crypto because you want to make money. If I removed all the exponential returns,
Mm.
if I removed the 10x's, the 20x's, the 100x's, the 5x's, and left you guys making 1% a year, 99.9% of you guys would leave. A small
Mm.
contingent of you would stay. Those who say otherwise are making excuses. They just want a community to be a part of to fight the system rather than
Mm.
even giving one.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I hear you. I'm on both sides, but because obviously I would like the gains too, so I can't disagree with that one. But
I can see Tadape in the chat saying unless the coin operates,
mm.
unless the coin operates, that coin, they could literally die. But what does he mean by operates? There's all these like buzzwords we always use by we just generally accept them. But if you really sit down and think about what even is the utilization of blockchain technology, it starts to make less sense. Think of it this way. What is a consensus mechanism? That's something that validates and maintains the network, right? That's what it's meant to be. So how is that mechanism implemented and how does it work? Well, proof of work, let's say. Well, people mine and that validates the network. So as long as you have people mining, then it doesn't really matter what centralized entity is there. It's working. So the network is still operated. And maybe there's no further developments, but you can have a fork. So it's like, what do people mean when they say all these things? Because the only true effects that there can be from a centralized cryptocurrency, if you take away stablecoins and stablecoins depegging and algorithmic stablecoins, realistically, it's just the selling of tokens because that's the only thing you would care about.
But that's the thing, right? Because if we talk about money again, it's like, okay, well, you have to consider that into your decisions because if you know someone can dump on all of you, then you're never going to get to the price you wanted. So either way, if you were cared about decentralization,
Yeah, but
or
is that even
centralized,
true though? Because look at all the top performing coins in crypto. Look at the allocations of them. They've been terrible. They've had like less than 10% allocation to the public. Yeah, people invest into them. Yeah, they did very well. You know, the VCs and institutions, most of their funds are locked up investing. And when they sell is at the height of the bull market. Why would you sell now? It's like this idea that people sell on you. Yeah, but you're selling on them too.
But like,
If
for
you sold
example,
today, you sold on them.
For example, I watched Crypto Archie's shout out to Crypto Archie, right? And he was talking about XRP, right? And I agree with what he was saying. So basically, he was saying the reason XRP isn't going up is because everyone wants to get out of the project, right? So then as soon as it goes up, everyone's like, get the hell out of it, and they sell it, right? So, and that's why you're not seeing that rally, right? So it kind of comes into this whole thing of like, what are people's intentions, right? They just want to make money, but then if a loads of people or main big companies or whatever own one big supply of it, then they can just sell it and then it never go up and everyone's just stuck with the bag, right?
Yeah, the reason XRP is not going up is because it's all recycled money. There's no new investors in the space right now. It's all just us choosing what to invest into. And the anticipation of the court case caused everyone to believe that we're going to get huge parabolic returns in the short term. So everyone was there waiting. Oh, I'm going to make a quick 2x, a quick 3x, a quick 5x, a quick 10x. They're all waiting. And they all invested. And when that didn't happen, they sold, which is why we saw a pumping up essentially of XRP. And it's the same now. It's the same now. It's the same concept. There's no new money. It's recycled money. Therefore, we're not going to go parabolic because it's very high market cap. There's too much money in the project. So
yeah,
I agree with Archie to a certain extent.
Yeah, let's move on a bit because obviously we spent a long time on this, and we could keep doing this for a long time. Yeah, I just want to do a massive shout out to my friend Dan. This guy's an OG, you know, right? He put me onto crypto, right? He's been in crypto since like 2012, and yeah, he put me on. Like, so big shout out to Dan, man, massive guy in crypto. Maybe I'll try and get him on my channel if I can convince him. He's not too social, but this guy in crypto, he's a G. Like, he's been around, like he knows a lot, and he could probably answer loads of our questions about decentralization and centralization. And yeah, great guy. Shout out to him. Let's see. Have you got any questions that you can see that you want to answer inside of the chat?
I could see Jakob asking me a few questions here, saying, "Is it game over for Ator? The devs eventually find a solution to get this problem?" Look, it's a very hard question for me to answer myself as well because I'm so uncertain about what direction this is going to go to. Ator no longer being affiliated at Tor could be bullish as they can build their own infrastructure, essentially to compete with Tor, be the new Tor, but a fully decentralized version through the relay, through the relay nodes. But it's whether or not they can do that. Whether or not them getting booted off has so severely affected the sentiment that it's no longer for Tor. I think long term, this might be bullish for Ator. Short term, we're probably going to get some bearish price action due to bearish news. It's obvious. Bearish news, bearish price action. So that's my thoughts on Ator. And then I see another question by him saying, how do you think the market cap at all could reach the peak of the bull run? Look, I think Ator could go to $20 billion in market cap, 10 to 20 billion. 10 billion on the conservative side and 20 billion on the optimistic side. But again, I'm very conservative with my estimates and values and predictions. Ask someone else, they'll probably say 50, 100 billion. But again, I'm very conservative.
Fair dues. All right, let me be selfish again. All right, good. Let's get in some juicy questions. All right, this one, I don't know how you feel about this, but let's drop it. So yeah, views on older coins versus new coins. What's your feelings about this? Obviously, everyone has their own debates on this. So let's see if we can go in.
It's actually a harder question than people think to answer. And the reason is because we need one more cycle and we'll actually be able to have the true answer to this question. Because there wasn't many coins in 2018, right? 2021. There wasn't many coins. So we don't really know. We can't use 2018 to 2021 because there wasn't many coins. Cardano did. It did 100x, even though it's been around for a very long time. But we don't have many examples of this. Most of the coins didn't do well. But again, it's because those coins were outdated. They were just privacy coins or they were payment solutions. They weren't DeFi. They weren't gaming. They weren't all these new hype-filled narratives with strong institutional backing. They had no institutional backing. So we don't actually know what's better. But what we do know is a new coin will always have a slight edge on an older coin because, one, it's easier to market a new coin. A new shiny toy, no one's seen it before, easier to market. Number two, investors feel as if they're not too late because it's new. They don't have this perception that old investors are going to dump on them and sell on them. But again, it's a very hard question to answer. I can't answer it. We have to find out. After this cycle, we'll actually have the answer to this question. But what I'll say is new coins will always have a slight edge in marketing compared to old coins.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you with some of these things, right? But I think it all depends on the project, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that.
yeah, like, so for example, I totally agree with what you're saying about the marketing aspect and the shiny new thing. That is a big thing, and crypto is very much hype, right? So, but where that hype can come in, that I see is, okay, a lot of projects released in obviously the heights of the bull market last time, maybe quite close to the top or whatever, promising something, right? But then they might not have it out. So this is now show and prove, right? So for example, this is where I think gaming is really, really important in the cycle, because gaming takes a while to obviously develop, games do. And then you're going to be able to see, okay, who's showing improving, right? And this is what we're seeing now. We're seeing games starting to come out, different games coming out on certain chains. And if you don't see development in them, that's where I'm a bit bearish on them, because I'm like, okay, yeah, you release, then show improve, man, right? And this is where the hype comes back in, because if they've got a really good product, then it's all over again, shiny new thing, right? And it's like, oh, they've been another one. Then you've got a benchmark, because we're talking about Tectum and not having a benchmark. So then it's like, okay, well, this one went to 1 billion market cap. What if it went double, or what if it went back to it? And then you've got the hype again. So I think there's two ways to look at it. Some people are like, oh, as soon as they see like a massive drop like this, they're like, scam, right? It's like, for me, I don't really care about price action like that, right? It's all about what you said, hype, right, and development in the project. And this is where the fundamentals come back into it again, and hence why you might invest in teams which are really strong, partners, or whatever you would want in your thesis, because you want to see development. So that's kind of my outtake.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. It's a very hard question to answer. Also, because token utility is very important. But you also have to ask yourself, the goal of a crypto is for us to never have to invest into them again as a degen because it's a high market cap, meaning they succeeded.
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, well, if a project is lower market cap now and it's been through a cycle, well, why? Why didn't it do well?
Yeah.
Why didn't it perform? Because that's something you have to understand, because when something's been through a cycle and didn't perform well at all, it's hard to sit here and say, well, now it's going to perform. So why didn't it perform? It had the opportunity to perform. So
but did it? That's the question, because the crypto market cycle, everything went down. It doesn't matter what you were, right? So this is the thing.
But if it's been through a bull cycle before, meaning it existed before November 2021,
right,
and had that cycle, meaning it had the opportunity to go on to do 100x or 200x, and it didn't.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
It's like, can we really sit here and say, well, now it's especially when a project's been through if a project has been through 2 cycles, meaning it's been around since like 2017 and it's lower market cap, it's not worth investing. 2 chances, it failed both, done.
Yeah.
No longer worth investing.
I agree.
If it's been through 1 cycle, then it's a bit more leeway. Okay, maybe it wasn't a narrative. AI wasn't a narrative. Okay, maybe this and that. Maybe the game wasn't released then. There's exceptions you can. Oh, now they have a play to earn system. There's exceptions you can make, but yeah, it's a very nuanced. I would say it's very project basis, because proof of work, not worth it. It's already been mined. It's old. All the rewards that would have been made is now made. It's not lucrative anymore. Not worth it. Gaming, play to earn, may not be lucrative anymore. May not be worth it. Layer 1s, well, okay, a layer 1, if it's good, it could still do well. It just has to catch on. So there's many different aspects. It's very project basis.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure, man. Yeah, let's go on to the last question, because I know I've got a lot of your time, hour and 40 minutes, which is pretty cool.
No worries.
So so we'll end it on this. So what are you planning to do in the future? And this is open-ended. Interpret it how you want.
What am I planning on doing in the future? After I make my multi millions this cycle, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. It's always good to focus on the now,
Yeah.
not get too caught up in the future. You have to focus on making it now because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's not guaranteed to happen again. At the end of the day, crypto is a bubble. It's basically a Ponzi. Regulation could cause these cycles to not exist anymore. Could really affect it. So this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You have to really try and make it now. Think of every cycle as its last. That's what I say. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just be that guy who lives in the mountains with my piano and my MMA gym, with my bow and
Hey,
arrow and my shooting range,
nice. Yeah,
relaxing,
yeah.
living the days. Even though I'm very young, but still.
It's fine, man. Whatever you want to do. There's no wrong or right answer,
I
man.
don't
If you want
know.
to do that,
I
all
don't know.
good. You know.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Focus
It
on making
reminds
it.
me of this. The reason I asked this question as well is quite an interesting one. So there's this story I heard a long time ago, and there's this like multi-millionaire guy, and he meets this guy who's he's like a fisherman, right? This fisherman has a family, wife, kid, all that. The guy comes out of him on the boat, and then he's like, "Oh, like this is quite a good business, this fishing thing. Like, have you ever thought to scale it up, right?" And then he's like, "What would be the purpose? Like, what's the end output?" And then he's like, "Oh, you make loads of money, and then you can spend more time with your wife and kid." He's like, "But I already do that." So
Oh, I've seen that.
you see that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like the message there is like, okay, the reason I want to ask this question is what's everyone's purpose here? You know, like because happiness comes from within. So you could be happy now, but accept risk. Crypto's a risk, but just be happy now, man. Do you know what I mean? Even if you do really well, it's just find happiness, man. That's my thing.
That's the
So
thing. Is there anything that crypto can give me that I need? Not want, need. Nothing.
yeah, exactly that, man.
All you need in
Yeah.
life is family and God. That's it. Nothing else. You'll be fine in the end. But again, crypto will give me even more money. Will I do that money? Probably not much. But yeah, it is what it is. My goal is to help everyone else make money. That's
Nice,
it.
man. That's
Yeah.
good. That's really cool. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. I think that's most of the questions, man. Have you got anything you want to say to wrap up and end on a note?
Appreciate you for having me here.
No
Maybe we'll
worries.
start crypto debates again, like the Gem Hunters days.
Yeah, man.
More
Why
structured.
not?
It'll be good. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. That's what I'll say.
No worries, man. No worries. All right. So if you guys have any questions or you want to check out his channel, Seth's channel, then I'm sure you guys know who he is, right? But press subscribe, and obviously the link is in the chat. So yeah, feel free to do that. And it's been really good having you on, man.
No
Take
worries.
care,
Thank
bro.
you for having me.
All right. Cheers. Cheers.